6/9 now. Didn't make any mistakes there, did we? Hey folks, welcome out there. We have a great show for you this afternoon. TN Learn Mathline, summer school, specialized segments, all the above, and I'm Ernie Roberts. I'm your host for this afternoon session. We're glad you've tuned in to us, and we welcome you to our show, all right? Glad to have you with us. Now, what's it all about today? Let's find out what we got going on here, folks. What we got for our thing. Oh my goodness, it's summer school, it's Mathline. My dear Aunt Sally's back. All right. And for those of you who are wondering, who's my dear Aunt Sally? Oh, let's talk about her. Let's talk about her, okay? Let's just see, who is Aunt Sally here? We have, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Sometimes we called her dumb, but no, it's dear Aunt Sally. Our dear friend is back. It's great. It's great. Now, I'm going to tell you, this came, again, from one of our viewers, and we decided to do a show on this today because I think it's important. I think it's important that we remember the order of operations is a big deal. Many of you are going to go out in the pre-algebra next year. You're going to be in Algebra 1. Some of you are going to be getting this in your 6th and 7th grade classes. But you got to remember what comes first. What comes first? So let's talk about these letters here. So what letters? Oh, how about it? P of please, E for excuse, M and D for my dear, and then A and S to finish it off for Aunt Sally. That's one of our little ways, hopefully we help you remember these. I had one of our viewers sent me an email and says, when did my dear Aunt Sally become the way you do problems? I always did them left to right. And I appreciate that because, that's what sometimes we think. And that's when the internet goes crazy over these kind of problems, when they see some additions, subtractions, multiplications, and they say, there's more than one way to get an answer. No, there's only one way to get an answer, the correct way, but depends on how you interpret my dear Aunt Sally, or in this case, we're going to please excuse her too. So let's go over these letters just real quickly. P means we go to parentheses. And our viewer who sent these to me said, that's the way I always look for it. And that's true. When you find parentheses, you go there first. You do. But when you don't have parentheses, there's an order that the operations are going to work also. If you have an E, E stands for exponents. They come next. So in other words, if I put a parenthesis with an exponent at the edge of that parenthesis outside of it, we've got to do the parenthesis first, then we'll square, cube, or whatever the exponent is dictating for us to do, all right? Now, after that, we're going to look at M and D. Now, I'm putting these together, M and D together, because they're for multiplying and dividing. It could be just, well, DM. We could do division and multiplication. It depends on which one comes. We do all of these. This works left to right. But we're going to go for multiplication and division first. And we hope maybe we'll get some examples at the end of the year that show you why it's important. But we're also going to do a couple of these that are on the calculator and show you the difference, what goes on and how the calculator is figuring them out. Now, with that, what's left? Addition and subtraction. And by the way, you can subtract before you add, okay? It's a left to right game also, all right? So we're looking for all the addition and subtraction, the very, very end, going left to right. And folks, once we've hit that point, we're done. We got one final answer, hopefully, and from the additions and subtractions, the very last order of operations part, okay? So we start with parentheses, it's hierarchy. We go to exponents, should there be any. And by the way, if there's any exponents inside the parenthesis, you'll pick those up before you get through the parenthesis, all right? You've got to think everything inside that parenthesis is worked on immediately, all right? Then you check your exponents that are beyond those parentheses. And then we go to multiplication and division, left to right, always left to right, whether multiplication comes first or division. And last but not least, we were going to add and subtract in that order. I've had people who jump and go to adding before they subtract, and you know what? You'll get some bad answers that way. Sometimes the way they're hit might not be so bad, but you might get the same answer. But if you hit a certain type situation, you will have a wrong answer, okay? So you've got to follow it left to right at the end. So let's see. We're going to look at some good examples today. We're going to have some fun, and I hope hope, folks, for you, this isn't going to be a difficult day. All right, let's see what we've got here on our very, very first problem. Exponent. You see the exponent, everybody goes ding, 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 yes. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that exponent because we start that way according to my dear Aunt Sally, and we're going to excuse her today, right? So E for exponents, excusing. We've got 36 divided by 3 times 4, and then we're going to divide by 6. Wow, a lot of stuff going on there, all right? But that's the first thing we do. Remember, we take care of the exponent. It just so happened that exponent was at the beginning. Had that 6 squared been down here toward the end, we would still need to take care of it before we start multiplying and dividing, all right? So the exponent reigns supreme here. Now, we've got a lot of multiplication and division, and some of you are saying, well, Ernie, we're going to do 3 times 4 first. No, we're not. We're going to work this thing as it comes at us here, all right? We're going to go from left to, you got it, left to right. So right here's our first start. No, left is here, right? Left and right, we got to be careful about it. We are correctly going to 36 divided by 3. It's going to give us 12. Got those timetables and gozentas down, all right? Now we're at 12 times 4, and then we'll divide by 6. Notice I really emphasize, then we'll divide by 6. We're going to multiply first, all right? Now our multiplication is leading the way because this is the first thing we see on the left. So we're going to say 12 times 4. How about it? Gives us 48. We'll divide that by 6, and it looks to me like our final answer is going to come out to be 8. It's going to be 8. Now, you know me. I want to convince you all that calculators know the order of operations also. So let's take a look at this first problem. Let's go to the calculator here, guys. Let's see what we got here. Got 6. We're going to square it, so we'll raise that to the second power. By the way, there's the power here. Or you could just hit x squared. I'm going to go ahead and put it to the second. And we're going to divide by 3. Then we're going to multiply by 4. And last but not least, we're going to then divide by 6. That looks kind of crazy, doesn't it? Those, by the way, those fractional bars, they're basically division symbols. And we got 8. Well, the calculator got 8, well, so did we. Because the calculator knows how to do the order of operations as well. It's been programmed that way. All calculators follow those rules, okay? So they know to do that division and multiplication, it comes left to right. They don't jump in the middle and say, well, multiply first. They know also to take care of that exponent right off the bat. All sorts of good things the calculators know. They know. And your computers, oh my goodness, yes, they operate on the same basis. So that's why we want to take a show on this with my dear Aunt Sally and understand that's the way it's been pretty good long time, and that's the way it works now in our world of technology. Anytime you touch any kind of instrument, calculators, computers, your brain hopefully is working that way too, all right? But that is important to us, all right? We want to make sure we've got it down. So let's take a look at our next little problem that we've got set for you here. Oh yes, evaluate, that's another word for simplify. Basically, we're going to come up with one final nice answer here. And take a look at this. Boy, everything's going on. There's an exponent, there's a parenthesis, there's addition, subtraction. The only thing we don't have is a subtraction, it looks like. We've got, goodness, we've got addition, we've got division, we've got squaring, we got, oh my goodness, all sorts of good things here. Multiplication, well, when we do the squaring, it's multiplying. All right, so a little bit of everything thrown in here. So you think, Ernie, what are we going to do? Well, it says parentheses first, right? So let's go for the parentheses. Actually, the last thing we're going to do is raise the power on this. Last thing we're going to do is exponents. Because everything inside here is important to do first, then we'll go to the second power, or square it, whatever our final result is. Go ahead and write this one down at home, all right? Let's see where we're going to begin. We are going to start with division because division comes before addition. Whoa. And remember, we don't want to go 4 plus 12 gives us 16. Boy, it's tempting. Don't do it. Don't do it. You've got to do that division inside that parenthesis first, which is going to give us, looks like 4 plus, y'all got it here? How about it? Plus 4. Still got a parenthesis there. We'll square that. Now, caution. That squaring does not go with 4 and then add those together. What we've got to do is add the 4's together, then we'll raise that number to the second power. Trust me on this. So let's see what we've got. We've got 8, because that's what 4 plus 4 will do for us. Square the 8, that means 8 times 8, not 8 times 2, but 8 times 8. And we do get 64 on that one. Man, for a little bitty problem, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. Now, hang on just a second. Let's clear this calculator out. Let's put this one in, all right? Let's see what happens. Parentheses key. I love the graphing calculator because we got parentheses already set and ready to go. Let's put a plus, that 12, divided by, put 3 there, close your parenthesis, and let's use the square key over there. See that square key over on the left? Right there, about right midway, 5 down or 5 up on the keys there. Let's see, the little block there anyway. All right, everything's looking good. Let's run it. 64, drum roll. We got it, 64. So again, that's the game plan. We always take care of that multiplication and division before we add and subtract. We always do parentheses, then in this problem, we come back to the exponent. So good problem, good openers there, all right? And I hope that you're following me and you're getting these problems right along the way, okay? We're going to practice today. That's what our game plan is. So let's take a look at our next problem coming our way here. It says to evaluate. We've got lots of parentheses, and then we got some things that aren't in parentheses at the very end. Oh, we got to think, don't we here? So let's go to the parentheses first. See what I see? You see what I see? Of course you do. There's a 4 and a 7 in that parenthesis. That was easy. We've got a 28 divided by 7. That works easily. We're going to work all those inside parentheses. And then we've got, well, little stuff at the end to worry about. We're going to need to be careful. Don't jump too fast on this. Let's take it a step at a time. I'm catching 11 right off the bat here. That's what 4 plus 7 gives us. The next one I'm seeing is times, looks like 4, because I know 7 times 4 gives me 28, and you guys do too, right? Been watching those multiplication shows lately. We get a 4. And we're going to multiply those in a minute, all right? I've got a minus 3 times 5. Now, dear friends, notice something. We have no parentheses at this point. However, we do have method to our madness here. We're going to multiply and divide next. We've taken care of parentheses. I see no exponents. Let's go to the multiplication part. And there you have it, right there. 44. We will subtract. Looks like 3 times 5 is going to be 15. Don't subtract the 3. You'll have a problem. It'll be a mess because your computer, your calculator, your brain, and your order of operations dictate we multiply, then we do the subtraction, all right? And at the very end, how about it? Looks like a big old whopping 29. Try it on your calculators at home. We're going to say we looked good. Let's go back one more time. Hit the high points. Parentheses first, please. We got that. No need to excuse because we don't have any exponents, but we got the 11 here. We got the 4. And the 3 times 5, we'll just deal with it in a minute, all right? Now we have no parentheses, but we do have 2 multiplications, and they are wanting to be taken care of at this point. So we get the 44, we get the 15, subtract them out, we are at 29. So good stuff here today here on Mathline. Good review moments. And we try to get some good problems here that will make you have to think a little bit. You know, it's summer school, it's summertime. Do we have to really think? It's good for you. It's good for you. We don't want you to get rusty. That's why we're here this summer, is to get you to tone and to sharpen those skills, all right? And be ready for fall next year. It's not that far away. We're in June right now, but you know, it's coming soon. Let's see where we're going to go on our next problem. Let's take a look at it here. My goodness, it's like I couldn't get enough of those exponents, could I? So let's see. No parentheses here, so let's go exponents first. I see 2 to the 4th, 2 to the 3rd. I got 2 squared, and then I got a 2. My goodness, kind of like got a little carried away with those 2s, didn't you, Ernie Roberts? Well, that's happens. It happens. So 2 to the 4th. Now hold on. Some of you out there are going like, what's 2 to the 4th? It's not 8. Nope. It's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Not 4 times 2, but 2 times 2 times 2. We're going to run that out 4 repetitions. So I'm catching 16. Let's go back on that. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 gets you to 8. Then 4 times, no, not 4 times. Where are we at now? 8 times 2 will get you to the 16. All right, so we're good. 2 to the 3rd. Just went through that, didn't I? 2 times 2 times 2. So there are 3 of those, not 6, but 8. And we'll divide it by 2 squared, which is a 4. And then we add 2. Again, the exponents are gone. Now it's about multiplication and division. So tempting as it may be, do not, I repeat, do not say 16 minus 8 first. It will not work in your favor, all right? So what we're going to have to do first is go for that division right there in the middle of the problem. Keep the 16, keep the subtraction. Now, 8 divided by 4, that's going to give us 2. And we're going to tack on another 2. And it's looking like at this point we're going to be in pretty good shape. All right, at this point we're going to say, how about it? Well, we're going to subtract first. We're going to subtract first, and that's going to give us 14. Add the 2, which should be at 16. Let's check it out on our lovely calculator, all right? I always like to do this because it gives us a chance to work with exponents. So we got 2, see the 2 key, and there again, that exponent key is right up above the division marker there, right in that last column on your key bank. So put that in there, put in a 4 for the exponent. Let's subtract, make sure we get the right keys hit. Put it in there, raise it to the 3rd. Now I'll be very honest with you. I would be expecting that you folks you can take care of this without a calculator, all right? You can do this in your head. These numbers you can put in your head, and then you can remember order of operation, you'll be fine. We're checking just to prove to you, yes, this is the method we use. 2 squared, go 2, raise to the 2nd power. And last but not least, we have a 2 to add. Press enter. I'm looking for 16, and I got 16. That's what we want to make sure we get, all right? So that's the deal. There we have it. You've got those exponents clicking and working for you right there. That's the game plan. Remember, 4th power does not mean 4 times 2. 3rd power does not mean 3 times 2. It means multiply. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And that gives us 16. That gave us the 8. 2 squared and 2 times 2, it's the same thing, right? That's what we mean. And then plus 2 at the end. All those 2's make a nice answer of 16. Way to go. Good problem there. Good problem. And I hope you're working them right there with me at home, all right? Let's take a look at our next little gangbuster here, all right? More exponents. Boy, you know I love those exponents. No parentheses, however, so let's see what we're going to do. Wow, a lot of division and multiplication, and then one little subtraction going on. Well, let's do a lot of multiplication. First of all, let's get those exponents cleared up, and then we'll start working some things left to right here. How about it? 3 to the 4th? Woo, 3 times 3 is 9. Let's do it again. 9 times 9 will give us 81. That's what, folks, 3 to the 4th is equal to. 3 squared? 3 times 3. We just did that, didn't we? Divided by 9. Bring everybody else along for the ride. The exponents are gone. We're now about dividing and multiplying. Notice I said dividing because the division's coming first, right? How do I know that? Left to right. Go left to right. So let's do it. We got 9. We're going to put a minus 4 there. Uh-oh, divided by 2 times 3. I meant to leak that for you, all right? Some of you going, whoa. We don't want to do 9 minus 4 first, do we? So let's just act like the 9 and the minus aren't even there. Let's do 4 divided by 2. Can you do that mentally? Let's do a little mental math here. Gives us 2. And what do we got next? Times the 3, which is going to give us 6. All right? So it looks like we got 9 minus, and we're going to do all of that next. All right? That's what we did. We did 4 divided by 2. Gives us 2. Times that 3. Wow. Gives us 6. Now, do you notice why it was important to do order of operations? Because if I'd multiplied first, if I'd said 2 times 3 first, I'd have 4 divided by 6, which is 2/3. Not going to be the same answer I'm intending to get here, all right? And actually, what does that give us? It gives us 6. Looks like 3 is our magic ending. Once again, let's check on the calculator. Let me get that cleared. And we're good. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. And sometimes, as I said, do not say 3 times 4. It's not that. It's 3 raised, which is the power key, to the 4th. That's your exponent, all right? So be sure you understand that. We'll divide. We'll take 3. We'll square it, because we were supposed to. Let's subtract 4. And then we'll divide by 2. That's how we're going to print it down. Remember, that's not the order it's going to happen, though. We're going to have to see what goes on. Let's press an enter. By the way, it's not going to show you any steps. That's why you need to do it in your head or write it down on paper. Let's see. We get 3. That's what we were looking for. All right. So again, intricacies. Order is so important. What you do first. And like I said, we took care of exponents. Then we took care of that little division. And again, I held off on purpose because I wanted us to work this as one basic clump. All right. The 9, this thing waits till the last minute. We subtract the 6 from it. We get to the 3. All right. There's your check. There's your check. So again, order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now let's take a look at this next one. We're going to look at this one in 2 ways. All right. See what I've got here. I've got a lot of multiplying and dividing, and this is work left to right, blah, blah, blah. And that's all you can do. There's no exponents. There's no parentheses. There's no adding and no subtracting. All right. It's all about multiplication and division. So we'll start it right here. We're going to pick it up. 72. We're going to divide by 6. And we'll divide by 3. And then we're going to multiply by 8. All right. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Let's kick right in here. Let's kick right in here. We'll say 72 divided by 6. That gives us 12. You know your 12 times tables, right? And we're going to divide that 12 by 3 in a minute, and then we'll multiply that result by 8. That's really what's going on here. All right. So we get 4 times 8. And finally, I get 32. Does everybody see what we did? We basically worked it down. Got here. Then we did here. Then we worked here. And finally worked there. All right. It's just boom, 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 boom. Working in step by step. Now, I want to keep the same problem here. And I think I'm going to ask y'all to drop out my lower third, if you will. But what I want to do is, what if I had put 8 times 9 and have this all underneath? Let's see. Actually, I want to divide by 6 here. And let's say underneath that I put, yes, 3 times 8. Now, if you're like a lot of my students, they would have gone right along here, lickety-split, and gone 8 times 9 on the calculator, divide by 6, divide by 3, times 8. Well, that's what this says. But dear friends, this is a different problem. Because what's going on here with this big bar going across? What's going on with this is real simple. It's like there's a parenthesis here and a parenthesis here. The numerator gets worked out together, the denominator gets worked out together. And we are going to have a whole different answer here. All right? So let's see. We're going to work this thing out. I have 8 times 9, which we know is 72. Divide it by 6, it's going to give us 12. And underneath, I've got an easy one. 3 times 8, 24, which gives us 1/2. Now, if you were like some of my students and forgot to put those parentheses in and typed in the calculator, you would have gotten 32, because that's the way the calculator reads it. You've got to slow it down. You've got to put those parentheses if you've got a big fraction here, all right? And in this case, it didn't come out as an integer, but 1/2 is pretty cool. If you'd run it through on your calculator, it'd probably come out 0.5, because most of the time you get decimal values. You could change that 0.5 or 5/10 to a fraction, but everybody knows it's 1/2. That's why I say let's do it in this manner. Okay, let's do it in this manner. But again, typing it in there, that's the difference what a parenthesis can make, all right? And in this case, you work them left to right. But in this case, you got to do a little work left to right here. Then you've got another little stopgap down there, and you put your results together. And definitely, 32 and 1/2 are not the same, not the same. Now, real quickly, let's take a look at an example where we know what to do in terms of order operations. Here we go. Nate had 4 test grades of 85, 82, 90, and 95. Very similar to the problem we just did. Only this time we're going to take, it says, what's the average grade? And how do we do that? Well, we take the 85 plus 82 plus the 90 plus the 95, and we divide that result by 4. Now we know that's what that means to do. And we're going to use a calculator on this one because the numbers are a little bit bigger. But it tells us that we're going to add these first, like a parenthesis around them, then we'll do our division at the very end. So let's take a look at that. And that's, by the way, how we average grades. And that's order of operations, folks. The parenthesis comes before the division. So let's do a quick addition. How about it? 85 plus 82 plus 90 plus 95. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and say enter, because that gives us 352. All right, we do the addition first. Now we're going to divide by 4. And we're going to see what happens. Comes out to 88. So looking at our numbers here, again, this simply equals 352 divided by 4. And that gave us that 88 average for him. All right. So again, that's where order of operations comes into play. Things that you do before you do other things. You work the parentheses before you do that division for that 4. And that's our story of Mathline today. All right, a little review on order of operations. Hopefully that was helpful and beneficial to you. Also, maybe exercised you a little bit. Good review, good fun. Hey, we're going to see you again next time.